Good morning. We are here in Chicago and at the convention, and we are talking with Bill Greenley. Good morning, Bill.
Morning, Jerry.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you were born and raised, and kind of your family upbringing and so forth?
I was born in San Francisco, California, 1945. My father died at an early age at 42. Just typical San Francisco, raised public schools. And I had a sister. She also passed away at 56. And I started college and decided to go into the military. So I joined the regular Army in Army Airborne in 1965. Spent 3 years in the military, a year and a half in Vietnam, and came back, and while I was at Travis Air Force Base, we processed people coming back from Vietnam, and I met my current wife, and we married in 1968, shortly after I got out of the service. Went to Southern California and went to engineering school at Long Beach State, and a friend of mine in the service, his sister was going to court reporting school and said you could make all kinds of money doing court reporting, and I said, oh, that's what I want to do. So I went to a little court reporting school and got taught by a woman named Leota Ellis, who taught court reporting for 38 years, and she was very hands-on, very, very good instructor. After a year and a half, I attained the goals to take the CSR test, which I took and passed. And I also took the Los Angeles Superior Court test and passed that. Moved back up to Northern California, started freelancing, worked for the Public Utilities Commission, for the court system, started my own freelance firm, which eventually became Combs and Greenley. We stayed partners for about 18 years and sold out. That got acquired by a company at that time called Legal Inc. And at that point, I stopped being a working reporter.
Was there anyone in reporting school that you felt was a memorable character or a person we would recognize?
Well, you wouldn't recognize her, but Leota Ellis. She was...
institution on her own?
Well, she was about 5 feet tall and about 5 feet wide. And she was the nicest person in the whole world, and the school would not have survived without her. The owners would pick her up at her home because she wasn't able to drive anymore, and bring her to school, and she was basically the sole instructor. I also was an instructor at night to pay my tuition. And so I taught speed classes at night as well.
So you've had a benefit of a vast array of reporting environments, including the Public Utilities Commission.
Yes.
And worked in court and
Yes.
worked in freelance. What personal, professional benefits have you derived just from reporting?
Well, I think because of the experience I've had and the background from the days of, as you did, the days of dictation way before the computer came around, and using your paper notes and working 12 hours a day to produce transcripts, and what I think it did was gave me a good background and a good feel for mentoring people later on. As we started hiring reporters, we had a pretty large agency in San Francisco, and I enjoyed working with new reporters, mentoring them, proofreading their transcripts, criticizing them. And I would tell them right up front, you are going to get praise and you're going to get criticism, but you will get one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hide the ball. And I really enjoyed working with people, which of course goes into the association work later on.
Talk about dictation, laboring these 18-hour days, dictating your work. What did you think when the whole concept of computer-aided transcription was being touted? Did you say, it's about time, or I knew this was coming, or?
Well, first I thought it was great, but at the time, in about mid-70s, in fact, I ran into you at the Pacific Gas and Electric one time, and you were transmitting notes, I believe, by telephone.
Yes.
With, I think, Xscribe at the time.
Yes.
And I just simply couldn't afford to get onto in those days, the Baron data systems, which were very, very expensive. Yeah, but the then Schiller, Combs, and Russell had 3 of those machines. And when I got approached by Ken Combs to go into the firm, which, as I said earlier, became Combs and Greenley, I got the benefit of having those mainframes, which, as you recall, had 14-inch disks. And
right.
a whole big 5 megabytes of information.
And take up the entire desk.
Yeah. And they were just monstrous machines. But then again, I mean, it was the beginning, and Baron Data, I think, did a good job. And the people that were behind it did a good job in growing the ability to translate your notes, which, as we know today, has evolved, and the technology has evolved so quickly that now we're doing it over the air.
So, on a historical basis, looking back on the profession, do you think there was a time which could be referred to as the golden era of reporting? Is there such a thing?
Well, not publicized, but yeah, yes, I think so. I think more of the 50s, the early stages when machine shorthand really came into its own, and up until then, you had Gregg and Pittman writers, and as you've done, I've done numerous histories of court reporting, and the way the machine evolved from. I'm trying to think of the fellow's name, Stone Ireland?
Yeah, Ward Stone Ireland.
Ward Stone Ireland, when you had a 54-pound steno machine, but when you look at the guts of the machine, it's no different than it is today, except now we're down to 1.6 ounces. And so you can imagine, but I think that was the golden era of court reporting when it really evolved, because without that, obviously, we could not have done what we're doing today.
Other than those occasional one-day experiences where you would say to yourself, what am I doing in this business? Was there ever a time when you said, I sure wish I weren't a reporter?
Oh yeah, there were those times when you go in and you have a bad day.
And in the same hand, when you said, well, maybe reporting isn't for me, I think I would really like to do blank.
Well, I was a part-time mechanic when I was younger, and I like to work with my hands. But when you look back at court reporting, I think for all of us, it's been a good career move to be a court reporter. It allowed us to raise 2 great kids, and I was able to earn enough income that my wife didn't have to work. Yeah. And so that was a nice thing to have.
So it's satisfying for you as a person, as a husband and a father, being a provider. And
the satisfaction of working with, in the deposition world, working with certain clients.
Right. And as you point out, you really enjoyed working with people, and so
Yep.
that satisfied that as well.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
What quality or qualities best describe the reporter or reporters you most admire or admired?
Passion and dedication to the profession, and as we all know, the perfectionist in all of us that wants to do the very best job every single time.